Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the Hub World Podcast. We are going to be talking about E3 predictions. Everyone's favorite. E3 is everyone's favorite time of year. It's like video game Christmas. And today we will be talking about the Xbox Bethesda E3 showcase that will be happening on Sunday, June 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific. So today, I'm Matteo from the Hub World, by the way, if you didn't know that. And today I'm joined by.
Hey, it's Gino.
Gules from the Hub World.
And Riley from that same site.
Yay! I'm very happy we're all together for this. Like we said in our Nintendo Direct, our February Nintendo Direct podcast, like E3 and Nintendo Directs and all those types of announcements were the thing that really made us want to start this podcast, having the discussion, having the predictions and all that. It's just super fun for us. And I'm happy that we can all be here today to do this because this is like it's coming full circle almost. So, but anyways, at the time of recording this, the only companies that have dates set in stone right now for their conferences is Microsoft and Ubisoft. So we're going to be doing Microsoft's today, and I think we'll kick it off. We're gonna actually, before we start, we're going to talk about games that or things that we think will happen first, and then things we hope will happen at the end, like our dream picks. Feel free to add a Microsoft or Bethesda topic, whatever one comes to your mind first. So we're not going to like break down Microsoft and then do Bethesda. We'll just do everything at once. So I will kick it off first because if we know one thing that's going to be at this conference, it's we know that Halo Infinite's going to be here. My prediction for Halo Infinite is we already know it's coming out this year. I think Halo Infinite's going to come out in November this year. I'm not sure what date because like I don't know what days Microsoft historically releases games on because like I know Nintendo does Fridays. I don't know what Microsoft's historic release day is, but um,
Usually it's on a Tuesday.
I heard like I know people were like, oh, it'd be great if they released it. I think on November 15th or something, which would be the anniversary of Halo 1's release. But November 15th, I think is like is a Monday, if I remember correctly. November 16th, maybe, or maybe they just say screw it and they'll put it on the 15th. But anyways, I feel like we're gonna get a release date for sure. This game can't get delayed again. It was supposed to come out for the Xbox Series X launch, and they pushed it back. That game would have been huge if it came out at launch, but they decided it needed more time. So I feel like enough delays, put this game out, announce its release date, and I really think they're going to go all out. The game's going to get a huge blowout. I think there's going to be a campaign demo and a multiplayer showcase that they're going to do. Like give me like what they did with Halo 5. They did the whole mission of Halo 5's campaign, and then they showed what the arena multiplayer is going to look like. I want that exact treatment for Halo Infinite. Lastly, I think also there's going to be some type of multiplayer beta that's going to be released. I don't know if Microsoft's going to like make it exclusive, a timed exclusive for some audiences, whether it's like Game Pass Ultimate members get it or Halo Insider members get it first or something like that. But I feel like there should be a multiplayer beta, and hopefully it comes out sooner rather than later. So that's what I think about Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you with like the big it's gonna be front and center. I would not be surprised if this was like the even like how they used to have like the banner kind of like the banner game at the convention center during E3. I feel like Halo, they have to do it. Like that game's had a full year of marketing, like with whether it be with like different random products like at that you would get at 7-Eleven or anything like that. Like they've already spent all this marketing budget and stuff on it. And like the multiplayer beta, honestly, Matteo, I wouldn't be surprised if like, oh yeah, starting today you can pre-register for this event. I think it'll be for everyone that has Game Pass Ultimate because they want this game in as many people's hands as possible. And if you're already a subscriber, this is just going to showcase one of the benefits of this thing. They're not going to like hide it behind like another service like, oh, okay, not only do you have to have Game Pass Ultimate, oh, you also have to be like the Halo Insider and stuff like that doesn't make too much sense to me. But
I mean, also given that they've already said that the multiplayer component will be free, I assume they'd want it to be
yeah,
as accessible as possible.
yeah, like Microsoft cannot like this game cannot fail. If it does, they're like they can't have another repeat of like what happened with like Halo 4 and like just generally the community sentiment towards like Halo 5. Like the multiplayer and everything was good, but people really wanted more out of that campaign. They have to knock this one out of the park. That's why they delayed the game for a full year to begin with. So like it can't be bad. They cannot afford it to be bad. And having that beta having the beta test, it's going to be for as many people as possible. They might lock it behind the Game Pass Ultimate, but maybe even it'll be on xCloud too, so they can test that as well. That'd be like a really cool thing, and you can play it now during the demo,
Yeah,
and
that's
that'd
I
actually be
really
really
don't.
cool.
It would be cool, but I really don't think it's gonna be like Shadow Drop that day. If it happens, I feel like they're gonna want they're gonna need people to register for it, and that's gonna take time. I just I echo everything you said about Halo Infinite. You know, that
Yeah.
game cannot be bad. It really needs to it needs to land. They need to nail the landing of that game. So
Yeah, because it's been what almost
I mean,
it's been
worst
almost
case
10 years.
scenario, even if it does poorly, MCC still seems to be thriving because people seem to, actually still like the old Halos, which always warms my heart, my cold
Yeah,
dead heart.
and it's getting a lot of really new and like compelling content too. Like
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't. I don't know if I would say it's compelling, but I mean, sure, it's nice to have new armor sets, even if
I mean, the
most of them
fact
are
they're adding new
repeats.
maps to Halo 3 is really cool too. Like the maps, I haven't played them yet. They could be bad, I don't know, but the fact that they're still updating the game is really cool. After the tumultuous launch that they had with Master
Yeah,
Chief
that was.
Collection to boot, so
That's an understatement.
yeah,
people say that No Man's Sky was a redemption story. I'm sorry, Master Chief Collection probably trumps that in my opinion. But yeah, Jules.
I don't have a lot to say about big Halo guy, and I don't follow to know if this is even a possibility. But you guys would probably be able to speak to this. But I wouldn't be surprised if at E3 they also announced that they're going to add Halo 5 to Master Chief Collection in preparation for Infinite, because it's been years now, and melding those two products together would probably benefit people who are looking to get into Halo Infinite, especially because Halo 5 is not on PC, right?
Yeah, it's
The
not.
campaign is not, but there's custom games in Forge, but proper
mhm.
multiplayer and campaign is not. No.
Yeah. Well, how do you think? Like, do you think that would be something that Microsoft would? Because, like, to me, it looks like Microsoft keeps trying to support Master Chief Collection as almost like this like hub for Halo as a
Well, I mean,
series, and I feel like it's missing Halo 5 right now.
I
And
think. Yeah. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I
That's
was
what
gonna
I
say,
was just.
given how they've started saying they dropped the whole numbering with Infinite because they want it to be a flagship for Halo going forward. I could see them, eventually adding Halo 5 to MCC just so it's a collection of all the stuff that Halo used to be while they do whatever they're doing with Halo going forward.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'd be down for that. I like Halo 5 a lot.
I wonder, like, do you
I don't.
guys think? No, continue.
I was just gonna say if they do add Halo 5 though, the Rex would be a bit of a mess in MCC. I don't know how they'd work that.
Oh, the rec
Eh.
system.
Yeah.
Well, they could do what
As
they
long
were
as it's not
doing.
microtransaction-y, like if they I don't think they should ever charge real money for that stuff again. But
Would you guys? How would you? Because like I wonder if this would ever be something that they would do. But like even like hearkening to the name Halo Infinite, do you ever think like has it ever even been thought up that maybe Halo Infinite is not only going to be like a brand new campaign and a new game, but it's actually going to be the evolution of Master Chief Collection? Like, what if Halo Infinite includes everything in Master Chief Collection as well as Halo 5, as well as a new campaign, and Halo Infinite becomes like a hub for the series moving forward. Like every whatever 3 or 4 years you pay to add whatever the next Halo game is into Halo Infinite, and Halo Infinite becomes the new Master Chief Collection.
Like it becomes a service.
Almost not a service. It would just essentially be a constant collection of Halo games. And like Halo Infinite itself, like maybe that's the thing, is like maybe the campaign of Halo Infinite, like whatever Halo 6 is, will actually be called something else, and Halo Infinite is the engine and like what they've built, but it actually becomes like the new Master Chief Collection. They add all the other content into it. Because that's the thing, is like, so for example, like if they could add Halo 5 into Master Chief Collection, but then it runs into the problem in the future that eventually Halo Infinite's going to have to get added to it, or else it's always going to be separate as they move forward. But what if that's what the Infinite in the title refers to? What if this is like going to become the new Master Chief Collection, and always there's going to be one big hub where you can play all the Halo games, and as they add the games, like the new games, so like whatever Halo 7 is, it would be like when Reach came out and you had to buy it to add it to Master Chief Collection. Like, what if they just do that from now on, where it's like, this is like a hub where all the Halo games are accessible, and whenever the next game comes out, you pay the money, like the $80, to add the new game into it. Thus, Halo Infinite.
That could be cool.
Yeah, I think
I
that could be.
I like
interesting,
the idea in concept, but I don't want to go through like getting all the achievements, all the
That's also
customizable things and all that stuff in all the other Halo games again. Like
If they import Master Chief Collection into Halo Infinite, like it
if
becomes
that happens,
one
then
product.
yes. If it's like tied to your account and like somehow you can get all your stuff unlocked, then yes. But like
I think that's more what I was talking. That's
Given-
more what I meant.
given actually that they've never really mentioned that despite them they barely support Halo 5, but they continue to add stuff to MCC. They're having a reward for people who reach max rank in Halo 5, being a specific armor set. They don't have anything for MCC, which I find strange. So I actually think there could be there could be a possibility of that. Like the thing you bring from MCC would be all your progress. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
Have all my unlocks again.
So, two quick Halo related things that I just thought of that I think could be there could be a chance that they get revealed or something happens between here. I think it would be amazing if, because now that Microsoft owns Bethesda, they own Doom as well now. I think it'd be really cool to have some sort of like collaboration between Halo and Doom. So like maybe there could be like a set of the Doom Marines armor in Halo
That would be
Infinite.
sick.
That'd be really cool.
Sick.
So like that's a super minor thing. And I just remember hearing something that like there's another Halo project in the works at 343. It's gonna be like a smaller game similar to like an ODST type game. I think that'd be really cool if they sort of like tease something beyond Halo Infinite that that this side project could be.
I'm still
But,
desperately hoping for that that rumored like flood survival horror Halo game.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine if Machine Games was working on that. Like you get the really tight gunplay of
I don't think I'd want
Wolfenstein or Doom.
I don't think I'd want another team working on a Halo game like that.
But if it's like something experimental, right?
Machine Games, Gino, Machine Games is busy doing other stuff right now. We'll talk about it later. But anyone have another prediction?
I do.
Or another Halo related?
It's not
one?
Halo related, but it's
Okay.
related in the sense that I think this is something that will absolutely show up.
Mhm.
Skyrim next gen. Skyrim on PS5 and Xbox Series X will be announced. They gotta hit them all.
I mean, but
Yeah.
wouldn't they just instead do like an upgrade to the Legendary
No,
Edition?
it's not good enough. Then it's not really on everything. They got to do it. You know what I mean?
Its own dedicated version.
Also, when you're saying you thought you knew something that was definitely going to be announced, I thought for sure you're going to mention Forza.
That I also have Forza shit on my list. Halo shit and Forza shit.
I don't think anyone here is a fan of it other than potentially Joe.
I want a Bethesda made Forza game where you play as a car and it's like Fallout or Skyrim, where you play as a car and there's different makes of car, but it's like an open world RPG.
So you want it to be a Cars game, like
Cars, except realistic, and the cars don't
Okay.
talk.
Yeah,
Isn't
like
that just
I kind of like
Forza Horizon?
No, not enough. It
Are-
needs to have
hey.
RPG elements.
are the cars like sentient, or do they have
No.
drivers?
They have drivers. You never see the drivers.
I don't know
Yeah,
how
that's
I feel
just-
about this idea.
You go into dungeons with
Do
the
you
cars.
have swords, or do you have just like a snow
Anyway.
plow?
I'm gonna reel this in a little bit
Yeah.
here, but I kind of like split because like you mentioned Forza, I kind of like split my predictions in a way where like I said for the most part we kind of know what Microsoft's first party studios are working on already. So there's a lot of games we know of. I kind of split my list into stuff I think we'll have get new looks on, and stuff that I just absolutely do not think have any chance of being at this
Okay.
event. I guess I'll go into the stuff that I don't think will be there. I don't think there's a chance that we'll see anything new on Fable, Perfect Dark, or whatever the heck the Coalition's working on. Whatever new project they're working on. I think those three, in my opinion, there's no way we see anything from them. Perfect Dark is too early, Fable's too early, and Coalition's project's too early.
I would just.
I
I
don't
would
know.
Everything
disagree.
else, I think, is fair
I would
game.
disagree.
Yeah, I disagree.
I don't think
as
we're
well.
gonna. I don't think we're gonna get a Forza game this year. I think we're gonna get some kind of Fable thing. Because I know, like Playground.
No, there is a Well, we know the new Forza Motorsport's coming out. That's done by Turn 10. But like,
Playground,
Playground is working on
Yeah.
Fable.
and I think we'll
But-
get a tease of it because
We already
like,
did get a tease, but
well, more than just like a teaser trailer. I think we're gonna get something substantial or something that's gonna be like, oh, okay, here's
I
like
think at least a story.
like here's
Yeah.
like a story trailer or
Yeah,
something. Not
Yeah,
like
I
don't
agree.
think we're not seeing gameplay. We're not seeing like
Agreed.
cinematics or anything. We're gonna get a story trailer of
'Cause,
some
like-
sorts.
Agreed.
Because like the reason why I thought that is like, to me, those three games, those are the next phase, the next wave of Xbox games that are coming out. The first wave is going to be like, or it's going to be Forza, it's going to be Psychonauts 2, Halo Infinite, Hellblade 2. I put Avowed here because I think Avowed could be earlier than we think. To be
I
honest,
mean,
with
you're
you,
not
but
wrong.
I think all those games will see more
I mean,
stuff.
you're not wrong in that sense, but I think Microsoft's trend in the past has always been to show their whole hand. Like, they're never a company to be like, well, we're going to wait till something's close to development. Like, because, I mean, they showed stuff for Battletoads and Ori and the Will of the Wisps like 3 years in a row as it got delayed constantly. Like, I do think they'll show something Fable. Just like Gino said, like probably not gameplay, but you're probably gonna get like a sense, like a story thing. Like that just tends to be Microsoft's trend. Is anytime they release news, they typically release news on every major thing they're doing. Even with like Halo Infinite, right? Like they announced it and they kept showing stuff. It wasn't necessarily gameplay, but they showed us a trailer just to remind us that it's there, remind us what's coming. Because I feel like Microsoft, unlike Nintendo and Sony, constantly needs to remind their consumers of what they have because they're still building that IP recognition, and I think that that's just something that they do. Whereas like I feel like the difference with like Sony and Nintendo is they don't always show their whole hand because like part of their marketing tactic is the mystery of like what's coming because they have so much that could possibly be coming, whereas Microsoft doesn't. Like Microsoft has a few things. And so if we already know their hand, they might as well show it.
But yeah, like I think we'll probably get release dates on Psychonauts 2 and Forza for sure. Forza Motorsport 5 or whatever the new Forza game. I forgot. I think they're just rebooting the Motorsport series.
Yeah.
I think it's just called Forza Motorsport. But I have a feeling, like I said earlier, I think Avowed might be a little. It's no way it's coming out this year, but I have a feeling Avowed could be sooner than we expect because like it did get more like it's got a little bit of a longer reveal than the other, like a lot of the other games did in the Xbox showcase that we got last year. But I still think it's like earliest is probably end of next year, because like I think Perfect Dark and Fable are like 2 years out. Avowed could still be 1 year out,
Speaking
maybe a
of
little longer than
Avowed,
1 year out.
can I talk about one of my dream
Mhm.
dream announcements?
Sure.
Sure.
So, given that Obsidian is owned by Microsoft now, and with the recent, acquisition of Bethesda, means Microsoft would have the rights to Fallout. And as everyone knows,
Mhm.
Fallout New Vegas is arguably, well, actually, sorry, I guess not everyone knows this, and it's obviously a matter of opinion, but many people consider Fallout New Vegas to be the single best of the modern Fallouts, and it was obviously done by Obsidian. So my hope is that perhaps they'll be able to work on a Fallout game again. I'm
That
sure
would be
many of the
really
fans
cool.
would like
Microsoft
that.
has all the individual pieces.
An
Yeah.
opinion that was once shared on our lost Bethesda podcast many, many weeks
Or-
ago.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that would also that would get Microsoft and Bethesda some huge brownie points.
For sure. I think something like that, depending on what they're like, depending on what they have lined up, that's something that they could save for later because that's a pretty big announcement. And right now, with like, let's be real, like Halo Infinite, like Halo in general, will always be one of their like one of, if not their biggest thing they can ever
Well,
show,
I think as it
and
should be, but
as it should be. But what I'm saying is because this year we'll have Halo, something that's that much of a big deal, like Fallout, like a Fallout New Vegas sequel, that will probably, even if it exists, still be like 2-3 years out. It might be something they'll save just because like it's one of those things. Like they will need big things to throw out after
but
Halo, and
they never have to
yeah.
show it. They could just announce that they're working on it. That would be
Yeah.
and
No,
have
no,
some
but that's what I
excitement.
mean. Is I almost feel like they might need that. For example, like so, like this year's E3, they have Halo to focus on, but next year's E3, what are they going to announce? What are they going to talk about? And they'll need something big to shock people because, like, it's Fable showing Fable gameplay isn't going to cut it. Showing gameplay of like those things
But
aren't going to cut it because they're
also,
not massive.
okay, fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, but I if it's just the announcement next year, I still don't think that would be enough. It would need to be it would need to be an announcement and showing off gameplay at that point, or a
I mean,
trailer.
still think it would be hype. Like if you saw that, like at any
Yeah,
time,
but
if
I
you
don't think
saw
it's
that they
enough
were
to carry a
greenlighting.
show if they don't have anything
No,
else.
no, I'm not talking about carrying a show because what will carry their show will always be whatever's coming out soon. But it's not those things that are what gets the like buzz, right? Like what gets the buzz is whatever's big, whatever the big announcement is. And this year, I feel like they can do without having a big shock announcement because they can really run the coattails of like we're showing off Halo Infinite like in its glory because it's actually coming out and they can kind of ride on those coattails and they don't really
But
need a big shock. Whereas next year they might need that because what Fable's going to carry the show or like a new Gears of War, like those games don't have the ability to carry a show
Yeah,
the
but
way
you know what
Halo
could?
does. What?
Elder Scrolls 6.
Which, let's be
Oh,
real,
it
but
won't be
Elder
there.
it won't be there next year because they already said Starfield is still nowhere near done, and they I think they said way back like Elder Scrolls 6 isn't coming until after Starfield's done, like well after Starfield's done. They've already said this year that Starfield is nowhere near done.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
My
Was it a
apologies.
rumor that said that Starfield really only started development in 2019, or it was a really like skeleton team until then?
I'm not sure.
I don't
Or
know.
did they
Well, I
just
feel like now this is a
Um,
natural segue where we should probably talk about some Bethesda stuff. I was actually gonna segue into that before, and now we've kind of gone on a tangent in other directions. And I'll still mention what I was gonna
My
say,
apologies.
but no, don't apologize. Like, but maybe we should talk about Bethesda. Like, let's like so do
we can hop back into other Microsoft stuff
yeah,
later because I have a few
yeah,
more.
and like I do too. But
Um,
like Starfield, like I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 is getting shown this year or at all.
No.
I think
No.
if anything, just if they wanted to give us like a little scrap, they might give us the name, but I can't see anything
I
beyond
think that's
that.
more than a scrap. If you have the name, you can at least you'll know generally what the
Yeah,
aesthetic of the game is going to be.
yeah, but that's still like, still like, I understand what you mean. It's more than a scrap, but I mean, like, that's still like just a
Well,
piece. Like, it's a crumb.
yeah. I think we will see it in some form or another. I think they will talk about the exclusivity stuff, because you can't talk about Bethesda now without talking about what's going to be exclusive.
So that's exactly what I was going to segue into, actually. Is what I was going to say is I wonder how they're going to handle Bethesda, because I wonder how we obviously a big question since they bought Bethesda and all these things Phil Spencer and everybody else has said is what's the exclusivity deal going to be like? And I wonder if there are games that are going to be on multiple consoles, if they will even really highlight them in their, like, I'm sure they'll show them, but I wonder if they'll highlight, like, for example, the big one I was thinking is Indiana Jones going to show up, the Bethesda Indiana Jones game, because I think that one has the most potential to be multi-plat, just because it's using a very popular like film IP. And it's like, well, will they, if it's going to be on PS5 and Xbox Series X, will they even like really show it? Like, will they highlight it in their Microsoft trailer? Because won't that like,
I think it would be
Yeah.
100% because I honestly we should spend a little bit of time on Indiana Jones right now, because like I legitimately think there's a good chance that game could come out this year, because Wolfenstein 2 came out in 2017. That game came out like around the same time Mario Odyssey did, I think, or like even on the same day. I think it was released on the same day. So like they've had good 4 years almost. So you know, and if that game's built like in the same engine or whatever as Wolfenstein, there's a very good chance that game could be close, or like it'll either hit this year or maybe even like early next year. But because Indiana Jones is such an iconic film franchise and such a known brand, I think it would be dumb for Microsoft to not show it off, even if it isn't exclusive, because the like you can still like have all the marketing and stuff, all the trailers and stuff they'll have, because now Microsoft owns the parent company. All the trailers will have the Xbox, like the ones you see on TV, will have
yeah,
the Xbox branding. And where does that start? That starts at E3 once it gets shown off. So it's just going to be, I think it would definitely be there. Stuff that I don't think stuff that was announced before the Microsoft acquisition, like Deathloop or what's it called, Ghostwire Tokyo, something whatever that's called. I don't think those will be here, because like Phil Spencer like said, Microsoft is honoring those deals that were made before. Indiana Jones wasn't shown off at that point, so maybe there's a chance Indiana Jones didn't have a deal signed with another console manufacturer, but like I I really think it'd be a big, like that's a big game. Machine Games is arguably one of Bethesda's best uh developers. So like this is a big deal game.
Yeah.
So like it has to be there, I think.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
hyped for that
Also,
game.
was Starfield already announced to be like which platforms it was going to be on at that point, or would they just say, okay, here's Starfield, we're working on it?
they said
Okay,
next
so
gen
Yeah.
systems.
okay, I'd like to take a jab at this. I think Starfield still has the potential to be multi-platform, but for the sake of this discussion, I'm going to say they're not going to surprise anyone and make it exclusive, just because, hey, here's the new great IP from Bethesda. If you want to play it, you got to be on Xbox or you got to be on Game Pass.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have maybe like a 1 year exclusivity to Game Pass or like Microsoft Online Store, and then I think they'll open it up to Steam, and that's it. Because then it'll keep that PC stuff going. Because Microsoft still has Master Chief Collection available through Steam. It still has some of their other games and stuff available through Steam. Like I think Sea of Thieves is on there too, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, Outer Worlds is there also. Yeah.
I do think Starfield will be exclusive, but I don't think it's gonna not be on Steam day one, because I think and this is my opinion. I think with something like Starfield, which is a new IP, they're gonna want to build that IP and build the like recognition of that IP, and having a bigger consumer base will ultimately help
Yeah, it'll help
Microsoft
that. Yeah.
and Bethesda and that game. And but at the same time, I don't think with a new IP, they care to put it on a Sony console, which is why I don't think Starfield will be on PlayStation, but I do think it will be on PC because that will help it build its brand. Whereas I think the established IPs like Elder Scrolls and Fallout, even, those are the ones that I think Microsoft will consider either being multi-plat or like timed exclusive and then going multi-plat, just because they already have a huge brand recognition on those other consoles, and it would make them more money if they just put it on those consoles. Like, really, at the end of the day, having it just on Microsoft is really just going to hurt the performance of those games and the money they can make from them because they're already so well established.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the new IP they can kind of take more risks with.
Yeah. I will challenge you on this one though. I think that the big tentpole franchises from Bethesda will be exclusive to Microsoft or Microsoft and Windows gaming, like Windows 10 PC. I don't think we will see anything out of them outside of what they're contractually obliged to. They didn't spend $4 billion to have the biggest RPG franchise and Fallout and like all of their other stuff just to go out and help sell a Sony console. Like
I agree with you in some
and
ways,
they
Gino.
want to grow Game Pass. They want to grow xCloud. The only way they can do that effectively is to keep it locked within their brand, and they want to bring you in on their platform. That's even when Microsoft Store existed as a place, right? The entire vibe of that thing was to get you in on their ecosystem, whether it be through Xbox, whether it be through Surface, and to a certain extent the phones, and those fizzled out and died because there just wasn't enough users on them. But most people have a computer. A lot of PC gamers are not gaming on an Apple machine. They're on a Windows machine.
Yeah.
Right? Most people's smartphones has access to the internet, which means you have access to download a free app and then get your Game Pass subscription. They want you in on their platform. Right?
I know they do, and like I guess my one rebuttal, Gino, is I would fully agree with you on all of these points regarding the exclusivity had it not been for them already saying that some games will not be exclusive. And when I think, well, then what are those some games? Because it doesn't make sense to make something like Starfield that's like a new IP. Like, what's the point of making that multi-plat? Because you're giving away a potential like new big IP that can just start out on Xbox and grow as a game. You're giving that away to your competitor for what is the like actual gain. Like, that's a risk. Whereas with Elder Scrolls, it's not a risk. Right? Yeah. With Elder Scrolls, it's like, well, we will make money off of our competitors by putting it on their system. And I compare it to something like Minecraft, where it's like, yeah, of course they didn't spend however many $1 billion to buy Bethesda to just put those games on their competitors' consoles, but it's also like they look at the money they spent on Minecraft and they just saw what a vehicle Minecraft was and was like, well, yeah, we're just going to buy it so we can make money off of it. And I feel like they'll do the same with Elder Scrolls. That being said, I don't think that means that Elder Scrolls won't be timed, right? Like, Elder Scrolls can absolutely be timed for a bit. It absolutely will probably have enhanced content. And even if they did make it day one on a PS5, the fact that it will be on Game Pass on Xbox, which means that you would get it for free if you had Game Pass, already is a much better deal than having to buy it $80 right out on a PS5. So I think regardless, with Elder Scrolls, like whether they make it timed exclusive or not timed exclusive, like I do think they're still going to highlight it like the best way and the easiest way to play is Xbox. And I think that's the only game that makes sense to be multi-plat. Like I don't like if they had not said that, if they had not said some things would be multi-plat, I would agree with you. But when they said some things will, the only thing I can think of that makes sense is Elder Scrolls because it just sells like hotcakes.
Yeah. One thing I now that I'm thinking about it, when we say multi-plat, I think it'll be Steam. I honestly I'm having reservations the longer we go without hearing anything about like how it's going to be on Sony, because Microsoft at the end of the day will want to take away market share from them, right? Like it's already impossible to find a PS5. and an Xbox One as it is. Everyone has a PC, so I think it'll be there. Like if you're lucky enough to have this stuff, right?
There won't be shortages for consoles in like 3 years when this
Yeah,
game comes
it's
out.
true.
You know,
I
but
forgot about that. I
And
still
the other
forget that
thing,
we're like talking like
yeah,
halfway into the console's lifespan.
this game is like it's probably just like they're probably like just starting to ramp up
and
right now with
the other thing to
Elder
remember too
Scrolls.
is like absolutely like they might just be referring to Steam, but the thing is like most of their games go to Steam, and they
Yeah.
don't say like, "Hey, Halo is a multi," but like they advertise Halo as an exclusive, despite it being on PC as well. So that's where I see it as a distinction when they're saying, "Well, some Bethesda games won't be exclusive." I don't think they're talking about Steam. I do think they're talking about Sony.
Yeah.
Or it could come onto the Switch. It could come to
Yeah,
the Switch.
Switch,
Yeah.
new Nintendo Switch Pro will get.
Hey, I played a
Elder
lot of
Scrolls 6.
Skyrim on Switch, and it was very fun.
Let me scan my Link amiibo in there, and we'll
Yeah.
go. That'll get me into Elder Scrolls.
But yeah,
But
so
I think also like a dream game for me would be like, and I think the only way this gets announced is if Indiana Jones does get announced to come out this year, and I would want a new Machine Games made Wolfenstein game. Wolfenstein Youngblood did absolutely nothing for me. I really did not like the direction that the game
You weren't
took.
alone in that one, Matteo. Most people did not
Yeah,
like that game.
it even just like the game. Like I honestly like I'm gonna actually fact check this because I actually don't think Machine Games made Wolfenstein Youngblood. Oh, it was a collaboration between Machine Games and Arcane, which also is owned by Bethesda. But yeah, they weren't working on the project by themselves, and you could tell that like the same amount of care for honestly like what's right and fair was not put into that game because of the microtransactions. And yeah, okay, you got a buddy pass with the game, but like the co-op in that game just didn't feel right to me. And especially coming off of the two previous Wolfenstein games that Machine Games made, New Order and Youngblood, and even
Old
sorry,
Blood.
not Youngblood, Derp, Old Blood, and New Colossus, especially New Colossus. Just those games are incredible, and just to have that big step back that the series had with Youngblood, they got like Wolfenstein something special. It worked. Like they revived that series fantastically. Just push it forward now. Machine Games like Indiana, they could maybe do Indiana Jones and Wolfenstein simultaneously. I don't know, but I think now, especially like a lot of the Bethesda studios are going to really uh, get a huge shot in the arm by the sheer amount of money that Microsoft can throw at these games. The studios can grow, they can expand, they can organize better. All of the Bethesda studios, I think, are going to succeed under Microsoft. If Microsoft takes a step back and just lets them do what they want, like lets them do the thing, just sign the checks. Like,
Hey, Phil's at the
so
helm,
that's
Matteo.
the
You're in good
only
hands.
thing.
Phil is
Yeah.
there. Phil is there. It's not like what's going to
So
happen at Google with freaking Stadia and Amazon's game studio.
Stadia is
Yeah,
dead.
and at Amazon's game studios and stuff, they're all they're all crumbling too, because yeah, I don't want to get into that because that's a different topic.
But like, yeah. So the only way I think a new Wolfenstein does get shown is if we see the entire plan for Indiana Jones. So, but for me, that's all the stuff I had for Bethesda. Like between like what you guys were saying about Starfield and Elder Scrolls and stuff. So it's all my Bethesda predictions have been set already. But I got a few Microsoft ones if
I
no one
actually had a
else
question.
has anything to add for Bethesda.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
is Arcane the one working on Deathloop? Okay, never mind.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, Arcane is doing Deathloop. Um, That
I
is
think we've talked Elder Scrolls, we've talked Starfield, like
What about the Sony exclusive Bethesda
I don't
game that
think
was supposed to be coming out? Which one was that one again?
Deathloop.
yeah, Deathloop and Ghostwire
Okay.
Tokyo.
Do you
I
think
think.
they get reduced to a 1 year, or are they going to be permanent exclusive? Do you think?
I think they have to honor the contracts, so I think it's
Yeah.
hard for us to predict that.
But if they ever do come out on a Microsoft platform, then you can bet that they'll probably be on
Yeah.
Game Pass. I really don't think there'll be a Fallout project shown this year, and I don't think there'll be a Doom.
Oh, I don't
project
think
shown this
anything
year.
Fallout will be around for a while, just because of like
Yes.
the shitstorm of
76.
Fallout 76. It's soured
when
a
they
lot
bring
of
it,
people.
yeah, when they bring Fallout back, it's going to be a big like revitalization for the series, and I think it will be what Riley is predicting. Like, I think announcing
New
that
Vegas
Fallout
2?
is in the hands of not necessarily New Vegas 2, but like Fallout is now in the hands of Obsidian itself will be enough to like to get people back on board after 76.
But what happens to the Outer World, right? Because that was basically just Fallout in space.
Microsoft actually just said recently, they actually said all future Outer Worlds games are going to be under the Xbox Game Studios or banner now. Like, so it definitely seems like there's going to be a future for the Outer
Oh,
Worlds.
so
Like
Obsidian
Microsoft,
might
like
not be
that is
doing it.
that
Maybe not, but you never know.
maybe I don't know, but
Honestly, I'd
anyways,
agree with Riley. But before we get a New Vegas
so
game, I think we're gonna get New Vegas remastered just to test the waters and test people's interest. And when that game inevitably does well, it'll get greenlit for sure for a sequel.
let's transition back into Xbox predictions
Yeah.
now, non-Bethesda Xbox predictions. So there is a certain studio that Microsoft bought back in the
Oh,
day in 2002.
Oh, here we go.
I think we should
My
pass
favorite-
on this one really quick and do some little stuff. I think
Really?
this is the big one.
I think this is
Well,
the big
I
Wait
one.
for
have,
the end.
but I have no. But I have predictions tied into this one. That's the thing.
Matteo, save the big one for last. Do your little ones first.
I was going to talk about Everwild.
Sure, go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
totally forgot that was a thing.
So,
Yeah, I did as well.
well, that's the thing. We don't know what Everwild is. All we've seen were like two like artistic trailers that don't show any gameplay, or we don't even know like the genre of game it's going to be. And it's seemingly like pretty far into development because what Sea of Thieves came out in like 2016, I want to say 2017.
Are they still producing new content for Sea of
Like-
Thieves, or is it or
Yeah,
Yeah,
season two just
Sea of Thieves is going
yeah,
really
got a
strong.
massive update this year.
I heard
Yeah.
I knew it
And-
was popular, but I never thought it would be that big. Like I
It's
always want to get
not.
back.
It's
Well, it
more
came
just
back.
there, just kind of like keeping it alive.
But it's not Rare's.
I mean, it's
Rare's A
afloat.
team. I think Rare's got like 3 studios, and not like I think the Sea of Thieves team now is really, really, really small, and they're just working on like continuous quality of life updates and like the odd like big expansion. But the main studios are working on other projects now, and like Everwild has been in development, full development, I think, for at least 3 years now. I'm really intrigued by Everwild, just like based on the kind of like lore that they Rare's kind of teased about it in the last 2 trailers it's had, and also the art style is very compelling.
It
and
does look very pretty.
Yeah, and like I kind of hope the game is like kind of like Horizon Zero Dawn in the sense where like it's just like an action adventure game, kind of like Breath of the Wild, like an open world action adventure game, because Microsoft doesn't really have those. But like knowing Rare, Rare's very much like Nintendo still. Like they always try to innovate, and sometimes it's to their detriment. But I feel like with Everwild, I'm hoping it's they play it really safe. The risk is the lore and the art style. Don't take a risk on the gameplay also. But like ideally, I really want to know what the heck this game is. So if anyone else like that's all I have to say about Everwild. I don't think there's no way it's coming out this year. Might be next year title, I think.
You think
at the
Q1
earliest,
2022?
But, no, that's too early. I think. I feel like at earliest it's summer next
Really?
year. So
Q3.
yeah, but
Okay. Second half next year.
But yeah, so that's one of Rare's IPs. But Rare has a lot of IP.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about another one that's also not the one that you think I'm going to talk about. But another Rare IP that's been dormant for 4 years actually, and was really successful when it relaunched was Killer Instinct.
Ooh.
And Killer Instinct had a really weird development. Like Double Helix Games, the studio that first made Killer Instinct Revival, the one that launched with the Xbox One, got bought by Amazon partially through the I think they got bought at the end of season 1 of Killer Instinct. But Killer Instinct had 2 more seasons after, developed by Iron Galaxy. And Iron Galaxy did a phenomenal job with Killer Instinct, and I would be doing a disservice to my dear friend Yako if I didn't talk about Killer Instinct, because like I even got into Killer Instinct. Jules, we got into Killer Instinct for a while.
Yeah,
Like
I got
it
that
was
broken
it
combo
was
with
really cool.
T-Rex guy.
It was really cool that they added like Rash from Battletoads, the
When they
Arbiter,
added
and
Arbiter,
General
that was
Rom.
hype.
Like
I like too. Like
yeah,
They used
I
like
Halo
really
5
liked.
Arbiter, like his model from Halo 5.
yes,
Yeah,
they did, but it was still really cool because I think they had Arbiter's out like they had a skin for him from the other
yeah.
Halo games from Halo 3,
What
I
I
think.
liked and I really appreciated about Killer Instinct was that they didn't choose like the obvious choices to be the characters, like the guest characters. They chose like characters that were like known, but not necessarily the main. Like I remember like jokingly after I think Arbiter came out after General Ram, right? I think I'm
I
pretty sure he did.
think he
'Cause I
did,
remember
yeah.
saying something. I don't remember to who.
General Rom was the first guest
Yeah.
character, I think.
I think so too. And I remember saying to somebody, I don't remember who, it might have been to Riley. I remember saying before they announced Arbiter, it would be so cool if Arbiter was in this game. And I'm not even a Halo fan. And then he actually was in the game. I was like, what? I thought it was so cool, but like I really appreciate that because like that's not typical.
But think about it though, like what kind of game was like like the atmosphere of Killer Instinct is like Killer
Savage.
Instinct, you have monsters, you have like it like metal, that kind of thing, right? General
Metal.
Rom is like he's beefy alien dude, right? Like strong, imposing, intimidating, and kind of like a lot of the characters in that game are like fit that kind of like archetype, right?
Wait,
The
do
Yeah.
art
Locusts
like
count as aliens?
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, technically, like I mean like an alien to human, right? Like they're not human characters. Like you wouldn't like Marcus Phoenix definitely would fit the archetype of a Killer Instinct game. Master Chief not so much. Arbiter on the other hand, yes.
Yes, I agree.
And Rash kind of like has that like metal kind of like vibe
It's
that he
also
like
just like a
I
giant
mean, if we're
fucking
going with
planet.
that aesthetic, though, I think like Tartarus would have fit better than Arbiter.
Sure, but does Tartarus have the pull that Arbiter does? Like, would
Halo
anybody
2
know
fit.
who Tartarus
Probably
is?
not.
I don't even know who
the
Tartarus
brute
is.
the brute chieftain from Halo
Oh,
2.
I know. Now I know who Tartarus.
From
But
Halo
see,
2.
if you didn't tell me that
Yeah.
his name was Tartarus, I wouldn't have known.
But yeah, like I think it's about time. Like Killer Instinct did really well, and it I think that's one of the few occasions in which like the season system actually worked for a fighting like for games in general. Like Killer Instinct was one of the first
Yeah.
that had that, and uh like it was such a success. I think it'd be stupid not to give it another go. But if you don't want me to talk about the next thing, then I think
Well, I have a few
like if
things.
anyone else has something that
So
yeah,
one thing we gotta see. I'm sorry, Microsoft, stop with your doing this every year, where you announce games and say they're coming out the next year, and then you don't see them for 3 years. Where is Cuphead, the delicious last course?
I was gonna.
it's still in development.
All I can
What about
say is by
Tunic?
this. No.
Or was that Microsoft? Or was
I
that
think
Nintendo?
Tunic. That was Microsoft, but I don't care about Tunic. Where's Cuphead? And at this point, I want to believe that the reason that it's taken so long is because they're going to rebrand it into a full-on like either sequel or like standalone expansion. That's what I'm hoping that they just do. Is that at this point, Cuphead's like I think it's been out for almost 3 years now, 2 or 3 years. Like, why even release a DLC expansion? Just rebrand. If Delicious Last Course is going to have as much content as they say it does, which is essentially the same amount of content as the first Cuphead, just rebrand it into a sequel. Like, I don't, or a standalone. Like, there's no reason to release it as an expansion at this point.
Hey,
Just
Jules,
give us all that stuff.
how many bosses are supposed to be in Delicious Last Course?
I can't remember, but I remember them saying like, I thought they said that they wanted to double the count, but maybe I'm wrong.
Jules, imagine if all of those are just remixes of Dr. Callow's robot.
Yep, the entire thing.
Entire DLC is just based on he's the new villain.
I'd like to add that I'm a complete idiot. I just realized now, Delicious Last Course DLC It's play on
Yeah.
words. It's they meant to say that.
Honestly,
I
at
didn't
this
just
point,
clued
I
on
could have
now.
had my delicious last course before this
And
game
delicious
came
last
out. Like,
seconds.
yeah, so like originally when they had announced, um, so like things might have been changed, but apparently when they had originally announced Cuphead, they said that there would be there would be multiple expansions, and each expansion would have 10 to 15 new bosses each. But if this expansion is going to have 15 bosses, is that not pretty close to what the base game had, Riley?
Trying to I think the base game had over 20.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe over 20, but still, if it's like 15, like why not make it a standalone? Like it doesn't necessarily need to be a sequel, but still sell it absent from like Cuphead. Like you shouldn't have to buy Cuphead to play it.
Okay, fair.
You
Also,
know
it
what I mean?
depends on what their definition of a boss is, because if you count like King Dice's fight, and you can count each one of those things as a boss. I don't know.
True. In any case, I want my Cuphead DLC. I don't
Yeah,
want none of this. Microsoft says Ori and the Ori and the Will of the Wisp 2018, and then the next year shows another trailer for Ori and the Will of the Wisp and says 2019, and then the next year shows another trailer for Ori and the Will of the Wisp and says 2020, and it's like, hey, when is there going to be a trailer that actually says that this game is coming out the year that the trailer's happening? Like you've
Hey.
been doing this. That's what they do. They always do
Microsoft
that.
delayed the crap out of Cuphead, and it was amazing. Microsoft delayed the crap out of Ori 2, and it was also really, really good. Like
Actually,
they
One also
Ori 2
got delayed.
had
they
hella
delayed
bugs.
yeah, they delayed the crap out of Battletoads also as well, and that game was amazing. Like Microsoft has been delaying games, and they've always been turning out like way better than a lot of people thought. So
Except Crackdown 3.
shh, we don't
And and
Hey,
any
it had
case,
Crackdown
but-
3 had Terry Crews, and Terry Crews is a boss.
maybe this can lead into my wish because I think we should end with Mateo's wish.
Yeah.
But
Well, I actually have quickly a few more things that I wanted to say. I wanted to talk about Game Pass and studio acquisitions
Oh,
quickly.
okay.
how much
wait.
money is Microsoft
If,
going to spend on their
okay,
studios?
you go. I
No, Joe,
I had
just
something tied in with that too. So
Yeah.
you go. Go ahead.
so I was just simply yes or no. Like, do you guys think like the last two E3s in a row, Microsoft's announced they've like studio acquisitions? I just want to know yes or no. Do you guys think they're still gonna be interested in buying more studios?
Yes.
I'd say yes. They're
Of course,
I
they're
think
interested in
yes.
buying.
Because like I think, and this is going to tie in with my thing I wanted to talk about with Game Pass, but Microsoft has never been able to break through the Japanese market. And I think a service like Game Pass has so much potential because handheld gaming is massive in Japan. Everyone's on their phones. The software on there isn't like there's not enough on there that would probably entice Japanese gamers. And I feel like Microsoft knows that too. So they got to go out, either spend the money on a studio to buy backlog legacy content that could be compelling for Japanese gamers, or just buy a bunch of games to put on Game Pass and go that
Ooh.
way. Because I feel like the technology behind Game Pass and the potential there is just like, for me, like when you hear, oh, everyone's bringing their Switch or everyone's on their phones in the subway or whatever in Japan, like it just, to me, it's a match. It's a perfect match. Microsoft just needs to play this smart, because that's the only thing that's really holding them back, I think, is Japan, because Japan is like half of the video game industry right there. So,
I
if you guys have
I
anything
think
to add,
I might have something to add to this, Jules. I'm sorry. I don't want to like take away from what you're saying here, but like it's very relevant to what Matteo's saying right now. You guys remember those rumors from a few months ago where Phil Spencer was going back and forth to Japan and everything, right? And certain
Mhm.
people were also noticing that Konami might be interested in selling a very specific like they're either interested in selling their gaming division or the rights to their gaming to their certain games and everything. And then there was a lot of Hideo Kojima love and also stuff. You remember that, right? What if?
yeah, it was like the Kojima Productions, like mascot thing, whatever, the astronaut dude,
Ludens?
was like in the background of one of Phil Spencer's streams.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say this is my wish per se, but this would be like, how cool would this be? Microsoft buys Konami's games library because Konami doesn't want to do video games anymore for whatever reason. They buy Kojima Productions. Next Metal Gear is going to be an Xbox exclusive.
It's very pie in the sky.
I
You
know,
know,
that's why I'm
but, like,
saying this isn't my
that-
wish, but that's why I prefaced it with
yeah.
how cool would this be?
Yeah,
cool.
it would be a big deal.
Big deal.
But
Or they buy FromSoft.
it would.
Unfortunately, the big barrier with that, unfortunately, the big barrier will always be, even if Microsoft somehow acquires Metal Gear and gets Kojima, and Metal Gear becomes like a big Microsoft exclusive, no matter what, they will never have Metal Gear Solid 4 on their library ever. They'll never be able to get the rights to that game. So even if they back, like, even if they put all the collection stuff on Game Pass, they'll never have Metal Gear Solid 4, and they'll be missing.
There's an elegant solution to that. You retcon Metal Gear Solid 4.
They could, and but the thing is, and that's what I mean, is they'd have to, because Metal Gear Solid 4 is the end of the story. Like, anything they make further has to either focus on a different character, or has to be like prequels. And
No, else the end of the story. I mean, Revengeance takes place after.
yes,
MGS4.
but it's the end of the Metal Gear Solid story. I'm not saying that they're, like I said, it has to be on a focus on a different character, and that's the thing, is even if they were to somehow find a way to set a story about Snake after Metal Gear Solid 4, you'd be missing a very, very, very core narrative in your backlog that would only be accessible on PlayStation. That's unfortunately. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that game was like.
I mean, they've made or decanonized games in the Metal Gear franchise before, like Snake's Revenge. That used to be the sequel to Metal Gear, the original one, and then they're like, this one isn't real. They could just do that with 4. It'll be fine.
I mean, very different times, very different
Anyway.
games.
True,
Jules, you had
but-
something to say earlier.
Yeah, like,
Sorry, not to like shuffle things along.
No, that's okay. I also think, and this is not the thing I was going to say earlier, but keeping on this topic, and this is satirical. I don't actually think this will happen, but maybe the reason we didn't see enough of the new Sonic game in the Sonic Central is because it's formally going to be announced as a Xbox exclusive game when Microsoft announces they've purchased Sega.
I think Microsoft's smart enough to realize they don't need that as an exclusive.
Yeah. They can fully realize that Sonic won't sell and will die anyway, whether they make it an exclusive on Xbox.
well, Jules, I don't want to burst your bubble, but Sonic's new game did get confirmed for all platforms. But yeah, I think that Microsoft's gonna they're gonna start this new initiative that they're gonna want to push into the Japanese market or the Asian market, and I think a big part of that will be additions to Game Pass. And there's been rumors for months now about Persona 5 coming to Game Pass. And I think that'd be a huge, huge, huge deal. Like, that would for sure get me to play Persona 5. I can play Persona 5 right now on PS4 with PS5 through the whatever PlayStation collection that they have, where they have all those 30 free games or whatever, but that's the base Persona 5. Persona 5 Royal, I think, is the one that's rumored to be on Xbox. And Microsoft can throw money out. They got MLB The Show day one on Game Pass. They got Outriders on Game Pass. They got a lot of big games coming to Game Pass right now. I feel like that could be it's available now type announcement.
Yep.
Have it available right after the show. That'd be huge. And I'm sure there's going to be more games. And the last thing I wanted to say before I get into my last non-dream prediction is that they're going to do what they did for the last 2 years, where they said, or at least for their showcase and for their last E3 conference, is that everything shown in this presentation will be available on Game Pass day one. That's how they're going to close their show.
With Persona, I don't know. It would be nice if it's on Game Pass. I'd love for more people to experience Persona, but I'm also aware that Persona was also heavily rumored for Switch for 2 years and never came to it. So I just don't know how much I buy Persona rumors, but you never know. But my dream, and the reason I'm putting this on dream isn't because it's necessarily like a big deal, and more so because I just don't think it'll happen this year, if ever, for a little while. But I would like an Ori 3 announced. I don't know
Definitely.
how that game will work. I'm not going to say why, but
Yeah.
but I would like an Ori 3.
So, Gino or Riley, do you have any dream announcements? Well, I know Riley said Fallout New Vegas, but do you have another one?
I'm mostly just excited about Halo Infinite. I'm a huge Halo fan, so I don't.
Yeah.
My dream is for Halo Infinite to not be bad.
It won't be bad.
343. Come on, dude. Make a good game out of the gate. Come on. Just no
It
controversies.
can't be bad. Did you see the trailer?
I mean, I felt that it couldn't be bad when they showed off the first one, and then everyone complained, and they're like, "All right, we have to revise everything." And now I think it could be bad because when they get
Yeah.
into
We could have been playing Halo Infinite right
Yeah.
now.
the people who say it, honestly, in my
Yeah.
opinion, the people who said it looked bad initially weren't the people who are going to play Halo, who don't play Halo on a regular basis, anyways. So I don't know. I just realized I did have another dream that I know is even more unlikely than the Fallout one. In that,
What?
recently the news came out that the exclusivity deal with for Star Wars was like taken away from EA, right? So,
Mhm.
and there's also been rumors of right now all the rumors are pointing to I think it's Team Asper to do the remake for KOTOR.
Yep.
Like, and
Yeah, I found that really weird, by the way.
I don't know. Like, if they're used to doing ports, I don't like the idea of it just being like, because like, if they're gonna do it, I hope they do a remaster, like a remake as opposed to remaster. And if that were the case, I don't think it'd be a good idea to give it. I don't know. I don't
Like,
know enough about them to give,
what do you call a remake? Like, would you consider something like
like
Crash
Final Fantasy VII.
Bandicoot? Oh, so then you want like a full on like reimagining, not something like
Ground up,
not
yeah.
but ground up still, like something like Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy was still made ground up. It wasn't really a remaster, but it was made to mimic the old game. Like it was made to preserve the integrity.
See,
But
I don't know.
what you want is
Watching
a
you and your
reimagining.
complaints about KOTOR 1, like, and how the combat's super dated, I don't know if I'd want the combat to be the same way. If I want people to actually appreciate the game and its story, it might
Yeah.
have to modernize. Anyways, if that were the case, and given that Microsoft again has Obsidian at their disposal, and Obsidian did arguably the better KOTOR game, I think it would be nice if Obsidian got to work on the KOTOR remakes. Probably not.
That
But
being said, yeah, I think that's I think that's more than a dream. Only because from the sounds of it, just based off the marketing and based off rumors, it does sound like Disney is going to be pushing or hoping to push Old Republic as like a frontier of Star Wars moving forward. And it would seem like a very strange decision for them to take the like most recognizable Old Republic story and make it an Xbox exclusive game. Like that just seems very strange of a Disney decision.
well, but it
Not
doesn't have
necessarily.
to be exclusive. That could be part
But
of
if
the
it's
deal for in order for
Obsidian,
them to
yeah,
work. In
I
order for
guess
them to
so.
use the Star Wars license, they might have to say they can't.
I guess so.
Can't
I
do
just
it.
wonder if Microsoft would be down for that. I
But
don't
see,
know.
that's the thing. Like Star Wars is a big enough brand that I think they'd say whatever, fine.
Yeah, maybe in some degree. I think it would depend on the deal. Just because then they're giving their own manpower to work on an IP that's not even theirs. You know. But
I
I
suppose.
would be a nice dream. Hey Riley, give it to BioWare. Even though BioWare is not even the same
Uh,
people anymore. Yeah.
I don't think I think it was Chris Avalon who did KOTOR 2. I don't think he's there anymore. I also think he might have had some allegations against him. I don't quite remember if that was him or someone else, but so it's not like Obsidian's the exact same either.
Yeah.
Well, if this is the kind of dreams we're talking about, then the actual dream I have is that all these back and forth lunches that Phil's been having to Japan, we're meeting with Sony to pull out of for Microsoft to pull out of the console race and sell all their IP to Sony, thus
You can
restoring
leave.
balance to the galaxy.
You can leave. No, JK Jules.
No, actually, sell them to Nintendo. Don't sell them to Sony. Nintendo
Yeah.
needs Halo.
Please sell them to Nintendo. Please sell them to Nintendo.
I want to see a Nintendo. I really want
Which
to see
is
a
a
Nintendo
pretty good
produce Halo.
segue.
I really want to see a Nintendo.
Well, no,
Switch Halo.
Gino, did you have anything
No, I'm
to
good.
add?
I want you to get to your main course here, Matteo.
So I'm gonna tease you guys again because I actually thought of something. Do you think if Xbox Game Pass got announced for Nintendo Switch, do you think it would happen in the Microsoft conference? Or do you think that would happen in Nintendo's?
I think it would be both.
I think Nintendo. I don't think it would be in the Microsoft one.
Yeah, I think so too. But anyways, let's give the people what they want. Let's give me what I want. I've been waiting a very, very, very long time for a new Banjo-Kazooie game. 13 years. The heartbreak year after year I have to go through. Aside from
Can you
2019,
not
Banjo
say
being in
13
Smash
years? Can
was
you actually say the real amount of years?
It's
no.
Banjo-Kazooie, let's be honest.
Okay,
Since the
23 years, Jules. Okay, yeah, I'm just kidding. Since Banjo-Tooie came out in 2000 or 1999, 2000 I think it came out. So 21 years. Every year there's always something that happens that like in 2019 was the only year where I didn't feel that way because Banjo and Smash was a big deal. I've been wanting that for a really long time. Phil's lunch paid off. Nintendo wined and dined him. We got what we wanted. But the amount of merchandise and products that have come, Banjo related products that have come out, predating his announcement in Smash Bros. The fan gamer, he got the fan gamer lineup, the cable guys, like clothing and he's getting action figures and plushes and like the amiibo for frick's sakes. Like Microsoft is making money off of this intellectual property and they're doing absolutely nothing with it where it counts. Banjo, when he was acquired by Microsoft, when Rare was bought by Microsoft, Banjo was a mascot of the N64. He was a video game icon. They've basically done nothing with him. Conker's the same way. I want another Conker game. But like
We kind of got the Project Spark
just
thing
grind-
with Conker, kind of.
no, Gino, get
I said
out.
kind
But
of.
anyways, it's not the same. You can't play that anymore. They took it away. But anyways, I digress. The potential that this IP has, it's just mind-numbing to think that Microsoft's done absolutely nothing with Banjo. And like whether it's a remake of Kazooie or a collection of Kazooie and Tooie or whatever, just do something. I feel like
I agree.
I feel like if Banjo got given a second chance, that wasn't like that's not a thing like Nuts and Bolts, like a side game, or well, technically they consider Nuts and Bolts 3E, but like if it was back to its roots and Banjo was given a second chance, it could be as successful as the revival of it could be like Crash, it could be like Spyro. It has a potential, and I don't think if Banjo does get made a new game, I don't think Rare's making it.
No, they're not. That's why. And know what? And that's why, at the end of the day, I really, really, really want a Banjo-Kazooie / Tooie remake in the vein of Crash Insane Trilogy or like Spyro Reignited Trilogy, rather than having a third Banjo game, because I feel like an outside team rebuilding Banjo and mimicking it would be nice first, especially if they're going to give another studio the reins to make a third Banjo. I would feel more confident if they first worked on a remake to get used to like the game, and then outsourced and then branched out. But at the same time, like who knows?
Oh.
Remember those early rumors? Like I don't think we ever talked about this on the podcast. I think
I think it was
predates
last year
the
that
podcast.
those rumors.
It was the end of
coincided.
last year. The rumors, and I can't remember if there was ever any fruition to these rumors. I honestly don't remember. But Matteo, you can probably spread some insight. But do you remember when Playtonic was teasing like big announcements?
Yeah, they released a video on their YouTube channel, I think, a couple months ago, and I think all it ended up being was just like they're gonna be publishing like
Other people's games.
indie games, but like I think they did say they have something that they're gonna show, but they haven't showed it yet. Like a game that they're
I would
making.
love for them
but,
to make Banjo 3.
Yeah, I would too, but like because those are the actual people that
Yeah.
made
And
Banjo-Kazooie
they
and
just made
Tooie,
their
and I
own
guess they
studio.
also made Nuts and Bolts Tekken. But yeah,
But would
like
they do Banjo
every
Redooey
year
first? Huh?
Redooey would be an amazing.
Yeah, that
name,
definitely
but,
wasn't
like,
our name. That was like a fan name for
yeah,
a remake.
yeah. That's like yeah. But that's the thing. Every year, I get my expectations up, knowing that I'm just going to be disappointed. And like, I'll always be a Banjo-Kazooie fan. It's just going to be a meme. Like every year, I'm going to hope and just get my heart broken. But like one of these years, eventually, it's going to happen, and then I could say it was worth it. But uh, I don't know. I really want Banjo, man. I just, like I said, I lost my mind when Banjo got announced for Smash Bros. If Banjo got a new game that is what I want it to be like, that's how I acted when he got announced for Smash. It will be nothing compared to his new game. And hopefully, if we're streaming or whatever that day, whenever that day comes, you'll see. I will lose my mind. I promise you that.
And in your confusion, I will make my way to Gino's room and steal his Eslo hat.
But I think with that should about do it. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed what you listened to, there's going to be plenty of it coming up, because this is just the beginning of, or this is the early phases of our E3 coverage. We're going to be doing predictions on other companies, and we are also going to be doing live reactions for the press conferences. I don't know if we've decided if we're going to do the Summer Games one yet. I think we would
Well, I
probably,
think-
but
Okay, I can speak to Summer Games, but I don't know if you want to finish your outro.
if we do it, we do it. If
Yeah,
we don't,
if we
how
do it,
about
we
that?
do
Yeah,
it.
How about
leave it at
that?
that. But for sure, we're gonna do the E3 labeled
Yeah.
one. So Nintendo, Microsoft, Bethesda,
With breakdowns
rest.
too.
Ubisoft,
The
whatever.
rest.
Yeah, we'll be doing breakdowns,
Live reactions.
and then we might even do a final podcast about like talking about who won E3 or
Yeah.
favorite announcements, stuff like that. So
And that may
like
be our episode
the-
21. That may be the
Yeah, that's
return to
actually-
the original.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
actually would be a really cool idea. Let's do that.
So if you like what you heard today, please give us a like, subscribe. It will do a lot. It'll help us out a lot. Listen to us on Spotify. We're also available there. Also, if you're a Gino fan, there's the door.
Especially in this E3.
Please don't like.
Especially
please don't
during
subscribe.
E3 season.
We don't.
Please.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I will leave you guys with a go hook and a way. Thanks for listening again. Believe in Banjo. Come on, Microsoft. You can do it. Give us what we want. Lol. See ya.
Bye.